Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We have a special guest with us. Katie Pasitny is the spokesperson and a family member of the owners of the Universal Ostrich Farm in Edgewood, British Columbia, Canada. She is at the forefront of the farm's legal battle against the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, which ordered the culling of 300 ostriches over an alleged avian flu concerns. Really? Canada's Supreme Court has granted an interim stay on the call, halting the execution while it considers the farm owner's appeal, but the situation remains volatile with ongoing legal and physical confrontations. This past September, Katie and her mother were arrested for obstructing the CFIA agents. Welcome back to the show, Katie Pasitny. How are you, Katie?
Good. Thank you very much, Jimmy, for having us back on. It's been a long time since we've talked to you last. It's hard to believe that it's already winter again, because this is when it all began, was winter. So we're almost a year into this. And
so can I let me just read a background so people who aren't familiar with this case. This is from Twitter, Grok. The Supreme Court of Canada issued an interim stay on September 24th, 2025, pausing the Canadian Food Inspections Agency's planned slaughter of nearly 400 ostriches at Universal Ostrich Farms in Edgewood, British Columbia, following a 2024 avian flu outbreak that killed 69 birds. Farm owners Karen Esperson and Katie Pasitny challenged the call, asserting that birds have developed herd immunity, while the CFIA maintains custody under quarantine for biosecurity reasons. They have custody of the ostriches, rejecting the United States offers to study or sanctuary them. Escalating tensions include arrests of owners and activists, Jim Kerr for obstructing agents, Indigenous demands for access to court to count the birds. They just want to count the birds. They won't let them. And public protests against perceived agency neglect, with a final decision expected by October 30th. So take it where you want it, Katie. What should people know right now?
Well, I mean, this is a complete waste of Canadian resources. We're treating Canadians like the criminals, the hardworking farmers. Canadian Food Inspection Agency has been nothing less than, they're not transparent. There's zero communication. When we do communicate, it has to be by email, even though they're on our property with our animals. I think where it was really disheartening was to see the amount of force coming here. We're 135 kilometers away from a major city, and we had, the day they arrived, we had about 40 police cars coming down the highway, and we were just in the pens with our animals because we didn't know what was going to happen. I think it's really important for everybody that is watching on your show to remember, not one of these ostriches on our farm have ever been tested. So not one. So we have a really big problem here, that not one of these animals that have been surviving for over almost 300 days healthy have not been tested. Canadian Food Inspection Agency claims that even if they test negative, they still have to be slaughtered. It doesn't make sense. And I think the world is really watching this and going, there's a lot of things that don't make sense here. One of those was that when my mom and I were in the pens, and all we were asking was for the right to feed the animals, to continue to have a routine, keep the animals calm while Canadian Food Inspection Agency came in, because there would be a lot of change and things that would be making them nervous. And we were just staying in the pens, hoping that they would just allow us to continue to feed them. And when they said we could feed them, we all said, thank you so much. We weren't distraught. We weren't blocking any fences, chained any gates. We just said we didn't want to leave the pens until they just kind of made the humane decision to us for us to be able to allow to feed the animals. And then when we got in the back of the pens, we were surrounded by police cars and arrested and detained because we went to go feed our animals. And if this is something that can happen here, I mean, this is something that could happen anywhere. But where do we draw the line with agencies that have so much power? And our farmers and our people are losing their freedoms, their rights, and their voice to protect the very animals that they've loved for so many years. Our animals we've had for decades. So we're not a commercial poultry facility. And that's also something we've been pushing, is just to remove ostrich from poultry. But right now we're living under a lot of force. There is 100, probably about 150 police officers that are working on this on our farm between day and night. We have 2 shifts. They are surrounding all of our animals, and they have a command center. There's a drone unit. There's a task force unit. There is a canine unit. And look at us. I mean, we're just farmers, farmers that want the right to be able to stand up and protect our animals. And so we're in this caught in the crosshairs of an agency that has unlimited power, and they're being protected by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So even if we needed to call somebody, because one of our ostriches did die in their care because they were lying to us. They got caught lying about giving one of our hens electrolytes. She needed electrolytes and medication because she was injured during their takeover, and she was flipped over a fence twice due to their drone. They lied to us. She died. She was suffering. And so there's animal cruelty and neglect under this agency as well, and we have nobody to call.
So why do you think? So this is about the bird flu that never really materialized, and it didn't decimate your ostriches. In fact, there's lots of people, a lot of scientists who say that your ostriches have developed immunity to the avian flu, and that we should actually be studying them. And what they want to do is just kill them without even testing them. Why do you? So is the avian flu still supposedly going on? I haven't heard anything about the bird flu for months and months in the United States. Do they talk about the bird flu still as a threat in Canada?
They do. And I think it's just really important that we remind ourselves that this has become an endemic. Avian influenza has been around now for decades. And as long as there's migratory birds, there's going to be avian influenza. So what do? Do we kill every outdoor animal that it ceases to exist to control it? Or do we learn more about the avian influenza and do we educate ourselves? Here at Universal Ostrich Farms, we've been working with antibody research. Our ostriches actually already show in their ostrich egg memory cells that we have avian influenza antibodies. So those antibodies could be used right now in therapeutic advantage in research and putting out therapeutics for animals and humans right now. And instead of using this, the Canadian government wants to shield it from the world. And I like to bring up, Dr. Oz brought up the situation with penicillin. And he said, you know, how penicillin was created. And it was because the scientist chose discovery over destruction. When he came back and his experiment was it was ruined due to sunlight and something about mold. Instead of throwing that experiment away, he looked into it further and he came up with penicillin. There's something here, and we have to learn that we could choose discovery versus destruction, and we need to really fight for science versus speculation, because right now the Canadian government is willing to throw away the potential of something so amazing that the world could use. We are losing the genetic diversity, biodiversity at a very alarming rate across the world by using that stamping out policy. And we really need to protect our farmers.
And so why do you think? So to me, it never made sense why they were coming after your ostriches in the first place, because there's birds in every tree in Canada. There's birds everywhere. There's ducks everywhere. But they're just going to kill the ones on your farm. Doesn't make any sense to me at all.
No, and it doesn't make any sense.
So why do you think they're targeting you?
Absolutely. You know why? And it's our speculation of, but is that we have something that is at odds with Big Pharma. We have something here that has the potential to actually help us become less vaccination reliant and absolutely be supported by natural antibodies of an animal that's prehistoric and survived on our earth for millions of years because of their amazing immune system. So we have something natural here, and Big Pharma doesn't want that. So and that is clear.
Again, and we saw what the the Canadian government is willing to do to the civil rights of its own people. They're ready.
Yeah.
They're willing to break their own constitution and illegally employ the Emergency Powers Act, and then take control of people's bank accounts. And wow, it's like some kind of Chinese nightmare, but it's happening in Canada. And
it is, and they went after the truckers. They did it to the healthcare workers, and now they're coming after our agricultural sector, with Canada already pre-purchasing 550,000 doses of H5N1 vaccinations in February, and we're sitting on those. And so, there's a lot of speculation as well, just to do with Mark Carney and his involvement with the company that made the vaccinations, and the ties that he has and the kickbacks. And I think this is way more political than we could have ever imagined, obviously. And where we're just being in the crosshairs is that this is the punishment for speaking up with something that could actually help humanity. And this is far from justice, but we're not giving up. And we're fighting the whole way, because the world deserves this opportunity.
I never thought about that this was another, I mean, because it doesn't make any sense. And now when you give that explanation of probably why they are doing this, it is most likely they're doing it at the behest of Big Pharma, just like they did all that other stuff. Because they didn't do the lockdowns, they didn't do the mandating vaccine, they didn't do that to help you, because they were lying about the science at every turn, right? So we now know that about COVID, that they lied about masks, they lied about herd immunity, natural immunity, they lied about the vaccine stopping transmission and contraction, they lied about how deadly the virus was in the first place. It had a low infection fatality rate, and it affected mostly elderly people like the flu, but they made babies get the COVID vaccine. So this was just like that, it was a giveaway. They're doing all that authoritarian nightmare stuff to their own citizens at the behest of Big Pharma, and they're doing this most likely at the behest of Big Pharma too, because those ostriches have antibodies. They've got natural immunity against this bird flu, and that's the last thing they want, is to figure that out. Right. Because then if they figure that out, then there's no need for the vaccines anymore.
Yeah, we're a living vault of natural immunity, and we have a natural resource, a renewable resource of antibodies to help humanity. And I think that scares the heck out of Big Pharma. I mean, I said, you want to scare the Canadian government? Live longer, be healthier, take care of yourself and look for an alternative, healthy alternatives. Because they found out the tests that they ran too on our animals, the two that they did take in December 2024, was your PCR test. So we're not even doing gold standard sampling to research H5N1, like a serological test or blood testing or a tissue sample.
Oh, and the guy who invented that test, the PCR test, said it shouldn't be used for this.
That's right. Carrie Mullis.
That's right.
I came out and said that, and unfortunately, Carrie Mullis isn't here with us anymore.
Yep.
And he said it was not to be used as a diagnostic tool.
So here is Ezra Levant. He asked a very respectful question of who is she? Is he talking to a health minister, I think? Well, let's listen to his question.
Marjorie Michael.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you, Minister, for agreeing to accredit Rebel News. I very much appreciate your dedication to freedom of the press.
So he works for a news organization that this minister accredited, meaning, okay, we recognize you as a legit news agency, and you're allowed to come in and ask questions of the government. And so he's doing it, and watch how this turns out.
I have a question about the ostrich farm. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to ask about the lawsuit, because I don't want you to talk about anything that are before the courts. But there was a letter, and I noticed in the statement you talk about Canada-U.S. cooperation. I know that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your U.S. counterpart, has written saying he thinks that there's some medical research value in these ostriches because they had avian flu, but then have recovered and are now immune. In fact, he's offered to do the research and even to pay for it. It seems to me that we need allies around Trump's cabinet table. And if you could throw him a bone and say, sure, Secretary Kennedy, you can study these birds, it's sort of no skin off Canada's nose. And don't you think it would be helpful to have an an ally in Trump's cabinet when we're doing our trade negotiations?
Prochaine question, merci.
That's my question. Don't you think it would be helpful to
Thank
have a
you.
friend?
Next reporter, merci.
Oh, you're not going to answer, Minister?
Prochaine question, merci.
I don't understand. Did I do something wrong?
Next question,
Oh,
thank you.
awesome.
Minister, did I miss an answer? I don't get it. Okay, I'll sit down. I guess it's question period, not answer period.
Merci beaucoup.
How embarrassing and awkward for all Canadians to watch that and see the silence that continues to just pour out of our government, that we will not address a major issue that has garnered international attention, that the Trump administration has offered the FDA and the NIH to even test these animals and actually look into their antibodies, but Canadians, the Canadian government would rather respond with nothing, just dead air.
So it just again, it highlights the corruption inside the Canadian government. That woman who's the health minister, what's her name?
Marjorie Michael.
I mean, she might as well just wear a shirt that says "I'm corrupted by big pharma money." I don't actually work for the people of Canada. I work for the oligarchs, and screw you. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. It makes sense if you look at it from big pharma perspective, meaning we're going to make more money if we kill these ostriches and we don't figure out why they have immunity.
Yeah, and that's what natural immunity exists. Antibodies are real. And if we start teaching our young kids and the next generation that they don't exist, we have a really big problem, because that's where our next generation is going to believe that they have to take a vaccination for health. And natural immunity exists. Antibodies are real. And we can really do something amazing for humanity if we actually use the potential that we're about to throw away.
Yeah.
And that's what we're fighting for.
I mean, if they would have taken RFK's offer, if they would be interested in studying these ostriches, then maybe you would think, well, maybe they actually do have a good intention, the government. Maybe they do. They just are misguided. But since they have completely refused, they won't even answer a question about it.
No.
A most respectful question I've ever heard of asked of a government official. The fact that they won't even take a question or answer a question, that just shows that this isn't about helping people of Canada or the animals of Canada or anything. This is corruption. This is democracy, and this is corporatism in action. That's what this is, and you got to just shut up and take it. And are the people in Canada, how much more have they rallied around your case since the last time we talked?
Honestly, a lot more. The longer this goes, the bigger it gets, because more people that weren't even on board back then are really starting to see that this is over punishment and control, and that this doesn't make sense now that we're almost approaching a year. And these animals were thriving and happy, and we were doing videos with them every day, showing their personalities and how loved they are. And, it's pretty hard. The world has fell in love with them, and the world has seen them now as beacons of hope for change, and our voice. We're all being suppressed, or being detained and held back. And now our animals are seized from us, even with an interim stay order. We can't treat them. We can't feed them. We can't go touch them. And we can't even talk to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency face to face. This is an organization that prides itself. They put out a new mandate, or their new platform for framework. And it says it ensures that CFIA is open, transparent, and accountable for their scientific work. Bringing new science and innovation to the table. And here they're trying to murder it. They are an agency that kills, and they're not an agency that is prepared for new science, innovation, or protecting anything. And I think we need a reform of this whole agency. They've lost, the trust is gone between Canadians and the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. We're going to have to see something big happen here. And because we've put Canadians more at risk than ever, because this is an agency that does hold us a very important part. And if there's a reportable disease, But everybody in Canada knows that even based off suspicion, they can come on your property and kill every animal you own. Nobody wants to call. So we are more at risk than ever because we want to do the shoot, shovel, shut up rather than report something.
Well, so now we're supposed to get a final ruling October 30th from the court. Is that true?
Yeah, they keep putting dates out there, but I don't have, there's nothing on the Supreme Court of Canada docket yet. So we're not too sure, but we should hear the Thursday before which would be for the following Thursday. So we'll hear this Thursday or Friday for if we're next week's decision.
Well, it's really interesting because this is the first time I've ever seen a government not jump at the chance to do medical experimenting on animals. So this is really different.
Yeah.
Really goes against everything, which just shows you that this is not a legitimate thing that the government's doing, that the CFIA is corrupted, and this is not about your health. This is about corruption. This is about control. This is about oligarchy. And keep fighting. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, this is a display of punishment. You should see it here. It's your theatrical display of complete punishment, too, for using your voice and standing up for what you believe in and your property and your animals. There is so much force here. You would think that we are the biggest drug lab in Canada. Nothing makes sense. We're the most friendliest group of supporters out here, and we are a dedicated family to protecting our animals and trying to make change for Canadians. And we have all of this police force, all of this money being spent from the Canadian taxpayers, that we could definitely use this money to do something way better for Canadians to make change.
Is there anything people can do who are watching to help you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow us on saveourostriches.com. You can email us at saveourostriches@gmail.com. And I ask everybody to pray. Prayer has got us a long way, and it's united a lot of people from around the world. These crazy ostriches became the perfect catalyst in a journey to create change, but also bridge borders and create a really good topic of conversation about freedom and our rights. And so prayers, please. Just send in prayers and love.
Okay. Katie Pasitny, I really appreciate you coming on and making time for us today. Good luck in your fight, your struggle to save your ostriches and to expose the corruption inside the Canadian government. Cheers to you, and please keep us posted.
I will. Thank you so much, Jimmy. Thanks for everything, and all of your listeners. You're amazing.
Okay, thank you. Over to Steph.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, I put it in the chats, saveourostriches.com, so hopefully that'll help everybody out. Thank you so much. All right, saveourostriches.com. Got it. Here we go. FSO, Kerp needs a powdered wig. Thank you for that. Vienticus, everything's a scam, everything's a lie, everything's hypocrisy, and so I don't comply. Love it. A crown this time, we learned from the kente cloth, so you can't say we didn't learn something. Pelosi, P. Walker. If a political party does not have its foundation in the determination to advance a cause that is right and that is moral, then it's not a political party. It's merely a conspiracy to seize power. Ike. Savage. No Kings is to divert energy from anti-Israel. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, yes, big time. Port Film Co-op. You know, I was really troubled today. I was watching, I don't know if it was Trump today or Trump this weekend, but he was talking about what happened with Hamas and that Israel had retaliated. And he's in a press conference in, the White House, and he's saying, we will make sure to handle Hamas. We will intervene. And I was like, wow, when did America declare war on Hamas? Why is my president saying we? That suddenly it's our war. It's our country that we're defending. I found that horrifying. This whole thing is horrifying. And that he continues to say we for this war. I'm not a part of this. Are you a part of this ugliness? Mel Brooks, say the bad news in a good way. Savage. Thank you for that. Port Film Co-op. Jews control the media, banks, and government. Okay. Syllabrax. Hello, Syllabrax. Hold on. Where's my gong? Here we go, Syllabrax. I watch Jimmy Dore for a happy times, and I want a happy times, Celebrax.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you.
Yeah.
Is that the chick from The Office? Is that who she is, Katie Porter? Phyllis from The Office?
You know, Katie Porter, she just wants a happy experience, you know. I'm surprised she doesn't do this with her little board all the time. It's like, I just want a happy experience. You can't see that very much. There you go. There you go. There you go.
Why do you... That's not... You're drawing a picture of her. It looks...
Hey,
over.
No. You know how she always uses her dry erase board.
You're making it look like she's chubby.
That she's fat. I know. She just wants
I won't cotton to that.
You don't like that? Hold
on.
on.
That's fat shaming.
I don't want to fat shame her, but I'm adding a little bit of curl to her hair.
Why are you making her look so swollen?
she looks swole, Jimmy.
Yeah.
I just texted all you guys. I've been playing with Sora too, and I've been awarding a Jeffy. That's a Jeffrey Epstein doing a little shimmy to people.
A Jeffy?
Yeah, James Lindsay, the most amazing, the coiner of the phrase "woke right." You know that great phrase that works. He said, "Like it or not, Israel is at the foundation of America," and so I awarded him a Jeffy for that great point. Check out the Jeffy.
Hey, Democrats knew they had to tap into society's angst and anger towards them, so they made up a BS protest away from taking the blame and cultivate votes. Duly noted. I had a friend turn to me and say, yeah, you know, I went to a No Kings rally, and I was like, I changed the subject immediately because I was thinking to myself, yeah, I should just engage and say, well, what policies did you talk about? Did you rally around a certain, like healthcare? Is that the policy that you all rallied around? You're all old. Is that the one you rallied around? I just didn't. I couldn't.
Okay.
Back to Jim.